Oxford from the inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth.
Hey guys, it's Siam. Welcome to Oxford from the Inside, the good, the bad, but always the truth. Today we're joined by Hannah. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Hannah. I've just finished my third year doing chemistry at Worcester College.
Nice. So today we're going to be talking about the question, will I fit in at Oxford? To kick it off, Hannah, how would you respond to a prospective student asking, will they fit in at Oxford?
So I think I'd start by saying that it's really important to note that Access Oxford does have a long way to go in terms of diversity and inclusion. I think there's a lot of work already being done and hopefully will be continued and improved. But I think the most important point is that there's so many assumptions and kind of like rumours and expectations for people at sixth form about a typical Oxford student and what that would include. But in actual fact, there isn't really such thing as a stereotypical Oxford student. Like, there's such a variety of different kinds of people, and so pretty much whatever like type of person you are, you'll find people who you fit in with. And I actually think that sometimes it's not always about finding the people who are most similar to you. If you want to, then that's fine. But for me personally, I've met lifelong friends, what I know will be lifelong friends at Oxford, and we come from all kinds of different backgrounds. And so I think one of the best things about Oxford is it allows you to meet a huge variety of people and and like really immerse yourself in like finding your people who you're happy and comfortable with.
Nice. No, I definitely agree that in terms of personality, I found like a massive variety at Oxford uni, and it's like really nice meeting. Everyone's very unique and different, and it's probably very much the case in all universities. And I also think that it's very at uni of the college system. It's very easy to immerse yourself around people.
100%.
There's there's so many societies and events in college and then within the university. So you're always around people, and people tend to also, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone wants to meet new people. So it's a very nice, friendly atmosphere. People are like very open to talking to you and everyone because everyone wants to meet new people. So it's a very nice atmosphere. In terms, I mean, in the statistics wise, there is a long way. Access needs to improve, but I personally don't notice it too much at all when I'm at uni. From my experiences, that there's a lack of diversity. I think partially, mainly because everyone seems to be so different in their personalities, and I've definitely managed to quite quickly find people that I feel comfortable with and who like will be lifelong friends. And everyone goes through that process no matter what university you go to. And there's something, there's also some, I personally found something quite amazing with university, and I know like the independence and like you controlling your life, and you have like, you living with friends is quite an amazing experience.
Definitely. And I think touching on one thing you mentioned earlier about the college system, something that's quite unique about Oxford, with the college system, it means that you meet people from years above you as well. And so I've got really close friends who are the year above me and like were able to give me advice and guide me. And that is quite, I think a lot of other unis, you're kind of confined to your own year group. So that's another thing that makes it really easy to find people who you get on well with.
And especially like college societies as well make it really easy to meet other people from different years in your college. And then if not that, then there's the uni societies. So it's actually really hard not to be social, which you also can do if you don't want to do that. But there's a lot of opportunity to procrastinate your work and go and talk to people for sure. One thing I wanted to mention that we both talking about beforehand is that that if any schools have told prospective students that that they shouldn't apply to Oxbridge, that they're not the right type of candidate. I mean, I personally was told that by actually a teacher. But anyways, I think that's personally absolutely ludicrous. I think for me to go to university or go to Oxbridge, if you're curious about a subject, then fundamentally that is all that is required. Everything else can be worked for. But if you're curious about something and that you want to study this degree, then there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't apply to Oxbridge, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And even people who aren't necessarily outright told that, but there's this sentiment amongst like their peers in their sixth form of just a negative sentiment about Oxbridge, like, you know, are you sure that's going to be a place you're going to fit in? Are you sure that's for you? No one's actually asking that question specifically, but it's more of a vibe, and that's something that really should be ignored.
Yeah,
And like that's getting less and less common the more people like this group can get the message out there that those opinions are quite unfounded.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important point, that if you're in an area in the country, or you're at a particular school where none of your friends, or there's not many people applying to Oxbridge, but you found that actually, I don't know, you really like French or English, and you think you're going to really enjoy this degree, and you like the look of the Oxbridge course or any university course, then you should definitely, if you feel a gut instinct that this is right for you, you should go for that, regardless of what other people are doing around you. I think I was in similar situations like that. A lot of people in Brighton are applying, a few people are applying to Oxbridge, but in terms of taking the gap year, none of my family or friends or extended family had done that, and I went with my gut instinct, and that turned out well. So I think if you have a gut instinct that Oxbridge is something that you would enjoy, then I mean, you've got 5 university options. It's smart, you might as well put it down. So moving on, in what to those in what kind of, wow, I've lost my words. What would you say about opportunities to get involved in societies at Oxford? What are your experiences of that, and what do you know?
Super positive. So there's lots and lots of societies, as there are at any uni. One of the things about Oxbridge, like any kind of university with colleges, is that you don't have to be like amazing at something to join the society. Like, well, that's me thinking specifically about sports. So like, I was able to play girls rugby just for Worcester College, and I would definitely not have been good enough to pay for uni. So that means that there's even more opportunities. And then also just like the breadth as well. So like at Freshers' Fair, at the start of first year, you'll find loads and loads of representatives from like all the different societies come and try and get you involved. And yeah, there's a huge variety, and that's a great way to meet other people. Sometimes, especially if you go to quite a small college, it's really nice to, it's a really good idea to like widen your social circle and like get to know some people from other colleges as well. And that's a really good way to do that. So would recommend.
No, I think it is really important what you're saying about college sport, is that a lot of college sports you can be at beginner level and join. A lot of people take advantage of the facilities that each college has for rowing, because it's like their first opportunity to take that sport, and then enjoy that. And also I think it's in my college, and I think at each college, once a week there's like a events evening at the college bar or pub, like that the ENTS reps, who are I guess it stands for entertainment reps, who like students who run social events for the college. That happens every week, and like whether it's like karaoke or open mic night or pub quiz, and it's a really nice social way of like just like catching up with people from your college, and then you can go to other colleges and like ENTS events if you have friends from there. And yeah, no, I think And then also, I think hall is quite a really nice way of talking to people. For me personally, like I'd work a lot during the morning, and then to like blow off some steam and have like a social activity, going for lunch and then talking to people at hall is really nice. Instead of like having like, I don't know, maybe at a different university, if you're like living in a flat, you might find that you actually have a few meals by yourself unless you're quite organised. Whereas at hall, you're always surrounded by people and everyone likes to talk.
Yeah, especially in first year, I think going to hall when you can is really a really good idea for meeting people.
No, yeah, definitely. For those that don't drink, and for those who really want to go out a lot and drinking is quite a hobby, would you say there's a place for them for both lifestyles at Oxford?
Yeah, definitely. So I am probably better qualified to answer the latter. So, I mean, obviously, the nightlife at Oxford isn't like phenomenal, but it's definitely enough. Like, you don't have to worry about that. There's like 3 or 4 nightclubs that you'll definitely be going to on a weekly basis, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, obviously, if you like purely want to go for a university for nightlife, which probably isn't the best idea, but if that's what your top criteria, then probably not Oxford. But if you just enjoy going out, then it's there's definitely nothing to worry about there. There's actually I think we're absolutely fine for nightlife, as long as you don't want like massive clubs. Which is actually quite nice. They're quite small because you just like know everyone there. So in first year you feel very safe because there's like 2 rooms, and yeah, you can't really look around the room without finding 5 people you know. So
yeah, that's true. I think there's also quite a lot of there's loads of music events. I was doing a podcast yesterday about music opportunities at Oxford, and there's a massive music scene at Oxford. Like there's loads of gigs, live music, in like pubs or bars.
And also, if you want to like experience like a huge city, you can just visit your friends at other unis and just jump on the bandwagon there. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's like if you want to like enjoy uni and nightlife be a part of that, the Oxford very much ticks that box. I definitely agree. It's not I don't imagine it's not the similar scale to Manchester or London, but I come from Brighton and the nightlife's pretty good here, and I'd say it's similar. And I think that's saying something because Brighton's quite known for its nightlife. So for me, I don't actually drink. Well, not yet. Who knows? But so far, I personally, I've gone out a few times and I've enjoyed it. I like dancing. But I tend to take a lot of societies. I think I do quite a few societies to be social and like get to know people. And I mean, yeah, it's me and a few friends. We would host in first and second year, and probably next year as well. Would host tea parties in the evenings where we'd like have a kettle on, like buy loads of biscuits, and like about 30 people would come to our rooms, and we would just like all be nice and social and like we drinking tea with biscuits, and it's just like very nice, very like it was very social. It ticks all the boxes of like a social gathering, just without the alcohol, and we had great fun. It was like my birthday was spent like that both years, and it was great. I think but even if you don't want to do that, there's plentiful societies to get involved with that don't revolve around drinking. Like me and my friends would every Thursday evening go to ballroom and Latin dancing, and then I took that up for the uni team in the second year. Yeah, I think whether you like to drink or whether you don't drink, there's a place at Oxford for you. And I also think, I remember thinking that if I went to a different university, I might feel a bit left out if the fact that I didn't drink, because I think university life, there's probably maybe a myth, but there's a strong correlation or like an association with drinking culture at uni. But what I've noticed at Oxford is that a lot of people, like a decent amount of people, like a proportion of people are quite studious and rather have like an early night than want to go drinking. So, but then there's also another proportion of students who do go out quite a lot. So I think there's a nice balance between that you can really find your group, whichever one you want to go to, and you can like flicker between the two. But yeah, if you want to like have an early night or just like have like a wholesome evening in with a few friends, there's like plentiful people that do that, which is nice. Or like if you want to go to the library late in the evening, you won't be the only one, and there's always people that you can find to do that as well. So yeah, and I like that, because I was worried that if I went to a different university, like would my friends think I'm weird if I like wanted to go to like the library late in the evening. But I think in that sense, yeah, you won't be alone if you come to Oxford, and that's you. So in terms of going back to the societies, do you think there's actually is there much time to do extracurriculars or societies? Because I think there's a fear that with Oxbridge, the workload is so intense that do you actually have time? Do people have time to do other things?
Yeah, so it's definitely true, looking at my friendship group from home, that you do have less time than your friends at other unis, pretty much. There's obviously exceptions, but you will have less free time. Like that is just a fact, because you have more work. But like, absolutely there is free time, and like it's up to you what you prioritize. And like you don't always have to have the same priorities throughout your 3 or 4 years at uni. So it's up to you. You know, there is limited free time, but you can use it however you want. If you want to use it socializing and then being hungover in bed, like that's fine. If you want to use it like doing loads of really cool societies, that's great. And so you just have to be maybe a little bit better at prioritizing than maybe at other unis. But providing you've got that, then yeah, you absolutely will have time to join societies. Also, there is unfortunately a slight variety amongst different subjects, like how much free time you have. But that's like you know, most colleges have at least 3 or 4 people on your course, and so you're never going to be on your own. Like there'll always be people in the same boat. So you just need to find your balance and like work out what your priorities are.
I think like and answering this question, I think my advice to a student would be to try to learn how to be more efficient with their work. Like the more time you spend on your work doesn't necessarily mean that like it's a good thing. If you can like get make a very, very productive 2-hour work session in and then have time to do something else, that's like much more valuable than spending 5 hours like on
Definitely.
and off.
I mean, I obviously have done 3 years, and obviously I still sometimes really struggle with productivity and like efficiency, and that is so normal. And it's important not to beat yourself up about that, but you do learn, like absolutely invariably, you learn what tasks can be like cut corners and what can't. So like, even if you feel like you haven't made progress actually improving your productivity, which you probably will have by the time you've done 3 years, you'd hope. But like, you know, even if you have bad days with that, like invariably everyone just learns what is worth being in the library at 11 p.m. before and what isn't worth it. So you do learn, like it gets so much easier compared to like the start of first year where you're like, oh my god, how am I going to sustain this for 3 years? And then you just realize like what you shouldn't be wasting your time doing.
I think because we both do chemistry, I think we've both said in the past that like when you've got a problem sheet and you're answering these questions about chemistry, it comes to a point where you've got a few left, and I think it's a good like ability to have where you spent a lot of time on a question and you felt like, actually I've spent too long on this now, I'm going to hand my work in as it is.
100%. Like sorry.
I was just saying that I think if you continue to be a perfectionist throughout your time at Oxford, you will end up spending a large amount of time at work, and probably more so than you need to.
And like in first year, or I guess it's normal, especially the first half of first year, you think that like, oh my god, if I don't do like amazingly well on every cheat sheet, I'm gonna get kicked out, which is just so not true. And so you learn, and then you, like you say, you realise that like if you only got like, I don't know, 7 out of 10 questions done, that's fine. And it's much better to get a full night's sleep and socialise and do exercise and eat healthily or whatever, rather than just like do an all-nighter, drinking Red Bull in the library and finish the cheat sheet. That's just not worth it. So I think you learn, like, you as time goes on, you get more comfortable and you realise it's actually no point being a perfectionist. But like that is, it's easy for me to say that now, but inevitably someone listening to this and then coming in first year probably will fall down that trap at the start, because everyone does. But it's just a case of like becoming more comfortable and realising that you're not going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
Probably.
And everyone's going, like almost everyone, if not everyone, will have those moments, and it feels like that, like, because it's quite easy to look at the people next to you and be like, well, they seem to be fine and they're working it through the worksheet, so I've got to do the same, because they don't seem to be struggling. But you don't see how other people actually are struggling as well.
And also, most tutors would definitely rather you do like half the cheat sheet, but like come to the tutorial, you know, awake and like sane, and like actually still with a vague piece of interest in the topic, rather than come to the tutorial with like a perfect cheat sheet, but like be sick to death of the work and be falling asleep, and just, it's all about balance. And your tutor definitely will understand. Like, I found out a little bit later than I would have liked that my tutor actually puts third year exam questions in the first year tutorial sheets and doesn't expect you to do them all. And he told us this like not even long ago, and I was like, you caused me so many sleepless nights. I was so angry at him. But I feel like that's definitely more common than you think. They're not actually expecting you to be able to do them all. The purpose of a cheat sheet isn't to make you like get all the answers right. It's just to kind of get you thinking. So yeah,
that's true. If you approach the cheat sheet wanting to get all the answers right, it could be a long week. So moving on, this is quite an interesting topic. How does the environment of being surrounded by so many talented, hardworking, high achievers at Oxford affect an individual's ability to fit in Oxford, would you say?
Yeah, and I mean, it is definitely true. You are around like the people everyone who you're with was the top of their class in A levels, or like in the top 3 or whatever, and everyone is very driven, very ambitious. Some people quite competitive. So there are pros and cons of that. The biggest advantage is you motivate each other, and as long as you find people who are supportive and aren't gonna like, you know, be competitive in a bad way, then it's really motivating. And it's really good for like showing you like, wow, like that's possible. I just saw someone do that really cool thing, that I can excel in that way too. It's really motivating. I think it's important, this topic, it makes it important that you have friends that aren't on your course, so there's no like direct comparison. Like obviously friends on your course as well, but you need to have some friends who aren't on your course, so that you can not constantly be comparing where you're at. But there are definitely inevitably disadvantages of that, and it is quite toxic sometimes. And like I've seen it in people I know at college, really struggling with that insecurity, constantly feeling like they're not good enough, when actually it's just that they're as good as everyone else rather than being better than everyone else, which is what they're so used to. I think it is just important to remember that like everyone's success doesn't like exclude other people's success, so like you can all be successful together, and it doesn't, it's it's not a competition. In terms of fitting in, if anything, it actually makes it easier to fit in, because you're like intensely driven if you've come to Oxford, and you're around people who are also really driven, so you're not going to feel like a weirdo.
No, yeah, true. Yeah. I think there's lots of like really important things that you touched on and expanded. I do think that I've personally found that I mean, the main reason I wanted to apply to Oxbridge was because of the people, and I wanted to be surrounded by people who are very motivated and like doing lots of interesting, cool things. And I'm not sure and I've constantly found myself being inspired and found people who are quite aspiring to be like. And I found myself doing lots of interesting new things that I don't know if I would have done at the universities. Like I wrote for a humanities journal because I've always had an interest in philosophy, and I don't know if I would have done that if I didn't have the certain friends that I did that were getting involved with things like that, that were like that studious outside of the degree. I also think in terms of the competition that you were saying, there's probably lots of different types of cultures, but two of them that I've noticed in terms of tackling the degree. So each college will have a few students for certain subjects. So in my college, there's 5 chemists, and it's always about a few, like less than 10 people. So it does create an environment where either the students can be quite competitive with each other, or the students can work together to help each other. And I think even if I don't know if the stats exist, but from talking to tutors from different subjects, they've always said that the cohorts that decide to work with each other and support each other always have done better than people who have turned to compete with each other. I'm pretty sure like that's like Darwinism, like evolution. Like people were made to support each other, and it's like very true in the degree.
Definitely, yeah. I'm really lucky in that we have 9 chemists at Worcester, and like there is not at all any competitiveness. We all help each other out so much, and I think that is definitely generally true. I hope, but most people I know say similar, perhaps not always, but most. And I think a lot of times when people don't feel like that, it's actually coming from within them rather than from other people around them. It's like their own like insecurity, and they, maybe they think that they're competing, whereas often like that's kind of, if you actually took a step back and realize what's actually going on here, it might just be your own kind of, I don't want to say imagination because it's not out of nowhere, but I think it's important to just like ground yourself and be like, actually we're all in this together, and no one is trying to like put anyone else down.
I can also see how it's quite natural to find yourself competing, like wanting to compete with other people and comparing yourself with other people. But I do truly believe that if you compare yourself to other people and your success with other people's success, it's a game that you would always lose, because you only have so much time, and you decide to put your time into the things that you value. And then when you find someone else that's really good at something that you just haven't decided to do, then like you will always find people that are doing things that are different to you, and then it feels like then you can feel quite inferior, but you're sort of like neglecting that actually you've been doing a lot of different things. I think personally I'd like to compare myself to like who I was in the past and like who I want to be in the future. And I think and in that sense you're sort of competing with yourself. And not really, the word competing isn't, I don't like that. Like it's more like you're aiming to be like better, but with like the things that you value. And I think that's a much healthier way, because then when you see other people doing really cool, like impressive things, you can be happy for them, because what they're doing has got nothing to do with what you're doing, and you understand that there's a difference between that. And what I found is that when people are doing really cool, impressive things, and it turns out actually you really would like to do that and spend your time on that, then instead of being envious, you find that you're inspired to do that, and then you can follow in their footsteps. And that's one of the my favorite things about what I found at uni, is that finding so many high achieving people doing things that I didn't realize I actually really like to do, and then asked them how they did that, and then got involved myself. And I think it's how I managed to find that environment and like that perspective is knowing that it's not like a comparison or quite competition. You can't. It's impossible to like actually be better than other people, in my opinion. Like it's sort of like, I think anyone who's like a runner or goes to the gym, like people when they go for a run, they're trying to beat their own time. It's not really about like in a marathon. It's not about beating the person next to you. It's beating your time. And I think you can like, and that's a nice, healthier perspective, like trying to improve yourself, and then use the people around you to then help you improve yourself.
Absolutely.
I think that is everything that we've had. I think we've covered all the basic, all the topics. So I guess that's what we've all got time for today. Thank you for being here, Hannah. It was really interesting talking to you. I hope for the viewers listening that we covered all the topics. I know that I think we've learned some really interesting stuff. If you're not, whether you're listening on a podcast or a YouTube channel, on our Instagram there's a link tree which has all the links to where we're available, which is at Oxford from the Inside. Follow us on there, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here, Hannah, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.